Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing my October TBR, which is quite ambitious, I'm not going to lie. I have a stack of books here that is well over 1,000 pages, and I'm excited to share them with you. So let's jump right in. The first book I'm wanting to pick up in October is Hunting Prince Dracula. If you guys watched my wrap up when I read Stalking Jack the Ripper, you guys will know that quickly became one of my favorite books ever. It is such a good story, and I am so ready to see where this one picks up. Where we left off, the main character, whose name escapes me right now. I cannot remember the main character's name, but I know Thomas Cresswell is the main guy in the story. She and he are going off to Romania to continue their studies in forensic pathology and archaeology, and some stuff is going to go down there where someone is copying all of the killings of Vlad the Impaler, otherwise known as Dracula. So I'm super excited to read this. It's going to be spooky and scary and dark, and I mean, this is a chunker of a book. It is like a solid 436 pages. So that's not too bad. Her name is Audrey Rose, that is her name. So it's 436 pages. It's pretty ambitious, but I am excited to jump into this book, and this will probably be the first one I jump into besides all the books I have to read for classes, but I am excited to continue this series. The next book I talked about in my fall reading recommendations, and that is House of Furies, which is this amazing book where the tagline is "They come here to die." The owner of a boarding house, Mr. Morningside, is kind of taking out his own brand of justice on these people who are kind of wayward. They have nowhere else to go, and he's kind of punishing them however he sees fit. But Louisa Ditton has a different plan. She gets hired as a maid at this house, and she's a wayward person herself, but instead of being punished, she actually gets the chance to work there, and she decides that she is going to prove this boy who is there, who's very charming and charismatic, that he is innocent and does not deserve to die. I'm very interested to see this. I think there's some magic involved. I'm not 100% sure, so watch my wrap up for that. But this book is very visual. There are like beautiful illustrations and things throughout, and it is about 406 pages. So again, another longer book, but I think I'm gonna fly through this one. And I really want October to be the starting of all of my series, so that when Thanksgiving and Christmas break come, I can just go right through them. And I'm so excited about it because October is also my birthday month, so I have a feeling I will have a whole bunch of books to show you guys at the end of the month too. The next book is from Ren Chupico, who is one of my favorite authors. She wrote The Bone Witch, which is right here, and also The Heart Forger, which I have yet to touch. But this is a book my roommate sent me, and it is The Girl from the Well, and the tagline is I am where dead children go. So that is exciting and very spooky. And it's, the other tagline is The Dead Do Not Always Rest. This spirit, she's 300 years old, she's very angry, and she meets 17-year-old Tark. She has no remorse for the wicked is what it said, so I'm assuming Tark is not a good person, and I don't know if they're going to fall in love or they're going to befriend each other. Whatever the case may be, I was just fully intrigued by the cover. I don't know a ton about the book, but it was on my list forever, and when my roommate asked if I wanted it, I was like, yes ma'am, send it to me right now. The next book is book 7 of Kingdom Keepers. I've talked about this in several TBRs because I keep putting it off because it is just so long. I never get to it. So I am filming this before the end of September, so I'm hoping I will have at least started this book and have gotten my hands on the spin-off series, but this is like... This is 609 pages, and it is very, very thick. Now, I know it's more of like a middle grade book, so I usually get through it fairly quickly, but it's still very long, and I really don't want the series to end, and I think that's why I keep putting it off. but I know I have the spin-off series to pick up. So I'm hoping to finally read this and be able to pass this on to my grandma. She gives them back to me anyway. As you can see, they're all right here. But yeah, I want her to be able to read this so we can talk about it. The next book I have is Pandemonium, which is the second book in Lauren Oliver's Delirium series. And this is just continuing our story. This is all like the sequel to Delirium. I'm not done with it yet, so I haven't really read anything up on this because I don't want anything to be spoiled. But this is just continuing Lena's story with Alex and Hannah, I'm assuming. But I just got to like a really juicy part in that book, so I'm hoping to get through it fairly quickly and get started on this one maybe before the end of September even, so I can include it in a wrap up for you guys. But I definitely have this on my October TBR. So right about now you're probably ready for my intro, because that is about the only amount of books I do every month. But this month I am doing a readathon from October 14th to October 20th. Books and Lala is hosting the SpookaThon read. I will put all the information down below. But I am participating because this is my favorite season. This is my first October on BookTube, and I wanted to do a readathon because I've never done one. So here are the books I will be reading. First challenge is to read a thriller. So I picked The Drowning, which is a book about a guy who basically is responsible for the drowning of a young boy at a camp that he is counseling, and then he becomes a bigwig CEO of a very successful company, and someone decides to blackmail him with the death of this boy. Since someone goes missing and drowns every year now, it's very like The Wicked Deep mixed with I Know What You Did Last Summer. So I think this is a really good thriller to start out with. It's a fairly quick one. It's only like 300 pages. So I am hoping to finally read this because I've had it forever and have it as my readathon book. The next book is a book with red on the cover. So I picked The Girl Who Was Supposed to Die. I talked about this in my reading recommendations video for the fall. It is another April Henry kidnapping middle grade thriller. So this one is fairly short. I think it's less than 200 pages or very, very, very close. And I figured this would be good for the readathon because it's quick, snappy, and it's middle grade, so I can probably read this in about a day or a day and a half, depending on how deep I get into it. But this is for the A Book with Red on the Cover challenge. Then you have a book with a spooky word, and I picked Hocus Pocus and the all-new sequel. This is a bind-up of the duology. I am hoping just to get through the original Hocus Pocus. So that is, I think, about like 200 pages or something in here. I'm not sure where this split is, but I am going to be reading Hocus Pocus because what better book to read during this season? And plus, I already know the story, so I feel like I'll read it fairly quickly. And it's just a fun read. I will probably only read the first one and just push the sequel to another time, but maybe I'll read the whole thing. Who knows? The next book is a book with a spooky setting. And so I picked Welcome to the Dark House, which I have had on my shelves. And this one kind of seems like a fan fiction I once started reading that ended, like, I never read the end of because it got really repetitive. But this is about, I believe this is about students in a writing program. This is about 7 people who enter an essay contest, and basically they have to write about their worst nightmare, and all of those worst nightmares come to life, or in some way come to haunt them. So again, I got this at Half Price Books, and I really don't know much about it, but it seemed like it is in a spooky setting. There's like a carousel on the front, so any kind of thing that deals with like a freak show or a spooky thing, I am down for. The last challenge is read a book you wouldn't normally read, and I wanted to stick with the theme, so I picked the Agatha Christie classic Murder on the Orient Express, which is now a major motion picture that I have not seen, but I wanted to. And this is about a like whodunit murder on the train, and you have to figure out who did it. Again, I think I'll go through this fairly quickly. It's big print. It's a lot of interview style writing, so it's a quick one. But yeah, I have never read Agatha Christie books, but I know the story about her disappearance and how she kind of became a mystery herself with her disappearance because no one has ever found her. So I'm excited to read this and possibly get more of her books. This is the end of this very long TBR. Hopefully you guys stuck around, and my October wrap up will hopefully feature at least all of the books from the Readathon, if not more. I have a bunch of mystery books to read for class, so hopefully those will all be in there for you guys. And I hope to see you in my next one. Make sure you subscribe and leave me your TBRs down below.